Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dota 2 Asia Championships. We've got the beginning of the lower bracket. That's right, losers round 1, Team Tinker versus Nautis Vincere. Elimination on the line here at the bottom of this double elim. Merlini, what's going on, dude?
How's it going?
It's going very well.
It's been a pretty hectic series thus far.
Yes. It has been a crazy day of Dota. Lots of game threes. The Coddle Guy curse continues in other ways, I guess. Maybe it's a good thing, but if you're up at 4 a.m., sometimes you're hoping for that quick 2-0, I guess. It's been chaos in the CIS region with these matches, but this is kind of a big one. Both these teams have been a little shaky recently, I guess. Rightfully so, as they're in the lower bracket, but I mean, what are you thinking here? Do we have numbers? Do we have bets? Who are your somebody tweeted at me and asked who my rares should be on, and I was like, this is kind of a tough one because
Bet 62% Navi, Tinker 38.
Okay.
Both of these teams looking, yes, as you said, rather weak, especially in their showing that earlier parts of the DAC.
5 seconds remaining.
Team Marino, Tinkerino, they've been through more roster shuffles than I think any other team in this qualifiers. I guess Alliance has had their fair share too. But it will be Boba taking the helm as a captain, Jason, also known as Arise, Sing Sing, Koikva, and leader of tiers, also known as Way Too Sexy. So they have kind of the same roster, 3 of the 5.
It's pretty.
That's kind of ish.
It's close-ish.
Close enough.
Yeah, and I mean, Arise and Way 2 have all kind of been around this crew, so they've all played together a bit and have been on the same level. Now, opening picks: Team Tinker start with the Wisp. Navi grab the puck. Venge, the popular opening right now. Team Tinker right there with the Dro ban. No big surprise. But the second pick, Juggernaut. He's been the talk of the town, man. He was picked like, I don't know, 5 of the 6 games that I got to cast yesterday or something. Or 4 of the 5 games, rather. I'm
actually surprised he's just not been banned out. But he is very, very strong. Not the ideal Wisp partner. Generally, you don't really want the magic immune ones. I remember back in the heyday of Lifestealer and EO, you'd be like, oh, come on, I'm trying to relocate you out. And then he goes magic immune, and then you just bounce.
Is he necessarily the Wisp partner?
No, he's not. Just in case they were going to lane. It's not that bad, though. I definitely seen Lifestealer EO work. I haven't seen EO Juggernaut work too much. But it's not a very popular combo by any means. But when you are picking a Juggernaut, you are worried about getting pushed to C9 style, and that's where the Lycan ban comes out. That's where the Drow Ranger ban comes out. And I mean, the hero in general is still in very unexplored territory in terms of what works well with him, what works well against him, and I mean, back before it was just all about the Healing Ward Lone Druid, Healing Ward push strat, but now that push strats are so 2014-ish.
Yeah, I mean, Jug's one of these cool heroes that's just so versatile. We've seen, like, every skill build imaginable. You've seen max Blade Fury, max crit, lots of points and stats. I feel like I've seen Jug do all sorts of stuff. Yesterday we saw Loda do this hybrid, like 2-1-2 at level 7 with an extra point in stats. Just kind of a little bit of everything, get the full spread. There doesn't seem to be a consensus on that one direct path that you need to go with the Juggernaut to be successful.
There's only one concern for Juggernaut in a skill build, at least early, is having enough mana for your combo at level 6, which is...
That's where that one stat point comes in.
You need, I think, two intel and 2 stats from your hero. So 4 stats from items or 2 and 2. I think most people prefer 2 and 2. So you usually see 1 stat early, like a 3, I don't know, like a 2-1-1 with 1 point in stats, or 3-0-1, or I don't know, some random medley with 1 point in stats. But his crit is just so incredibly good.
Yeah. 20% to do 200 at level 1. Yeah,
20%.
That's some value right there. 1 in 5 at level 1. That's fun. So here's a fun pick, though. Team Tinker grabbing the Treant Protector. An old Leafy man hasn't been getting too much love recently, but him paired with the Wisp, a lot of support, a lot of healing that they could put out here. Maybe Navi want to consider an Ancient Apparition pickup just based on the raw sustain they've got with their first 3 picks. And, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's a very easy pick to make, I would say, with the Juggernaut and Treant. But it looks like a mass heal strat, and it probably is a mass sustain strat, but at the same time, they have a lot of mitigation too, so the Ice Blast is certainly going to be useful, but not necessarily going to be the trump card when it comes to this particular match.
Yeah, and
I think it's much better versus like Dazzle, Necro, those heroes. I feel it's like much more healing. Witch Doctor to some extent, but yeah, versus Trian and EO, they at least have overcharge and living armor charges to block a lot of the damage. And looks like the Superman is going to be the Red Man himself.
Oh yeah, mutton
Kohler.
chops. Yep, Wisp Axe, pretty damn good. We've seen it work many a time, and this could potentially be an aggro tri lane from Team Tinker. I don't know how often they're digging on the aggro tris in 6.8.
I don't think they need to aggro. I think they'll just they might just duel.
I don't know that they need to, but I saw a Wisp Axe Treant go aggro tri a couple months ago, and I'm just having flashbacks of how difficult it can be to deal with until AA gets that level 6 mark, and you can really shut down that safe lane if you want to be aggressive.
It's usually targeted at melee farmers, though. Most importantly, Lycan is the one that Axe is usually paired against, which is surprising because Team Tinker, actually banned it out first. And then you'll see it versus other weak melee heroes, Faces Void sometimes, Phantom Assassin, Spectre, these sort of heroes that really struggle in the early game versus an Axe. So do
you think it could have possibly been a deny pick? Axe is not that bad against Jug. You've got the taunt. You can cut his head off, and he's spinning around in circles. I've heard some people say Axe is a fairly potent
mediocre pick. I think Juggernaut's damage during Omni Slash is so high that even with plus 30 armor from Berserker's Call, you usually won't survive. Maybe with some more heals, but the heals are on the side of Tinkerino. So I would highly doubt that it's a deny pick, but it is something that's not completely out of the question. Axe versus Troll is so. We've also seen Team Tinker run EO Axe purely in the jungle, and then he comes out with a Blink Dagger and starts killing people, or even just tranks and level 5 at 4 minutes and starts killing people. So that would mean that they would put Trian in a solo-ish position. So it could be like a safe lane Jug, an off lane Trian, and a EO Axe in the jungle. Although that would be pretty weak if Navi decides to move around a lot early, which is always a possibility with a Vengeful Spirit in play.
All right, final ban for Tinker. They're burning through this reserve time here. The Magnus, that is an Arise Classic, the Jason Classic, and Medusa, the Gorgon. She's been the talk of the town. Now, what are Navi going to do with the Troll? There could potentially be like a Slardar pick here. Anyone with a bash, not too bad when you have the Battle Trance. Pairs nicely with the Venge, a little bit of minus armor.
Void, I would say.
Void could be very good also.
I like Void here.
I don't know, a couple of options here for the Hvost hero. But like you pointed out, if they grab a melee hero, that option to aggro try is still on the table. Maybe not what Tinker have absolutely in mind, but
I like Timber or Void here. They have 3 strength heroes.
Ooh, Weaver.
So we see the AA Weaver combo a lot, and they also don't want to overload on melee. Not that they have any right now. Troll is pseudo melee, but it's always nice to get out of range of Axis Call, of even taking damage from the spins, and they actually do not have any great lockdown besides Berserker's Call, and that's mediocre at best, especially when you have a Vengeful Spirit to swap.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need a core here. Probably their mid. Again, depends how they want to set up these lanes. It could be an Axe Wisp mid. So they could grab an off-laner, but somebody with some stun. Axe will be their initiator, but Centaur is a potential option. I don't know that synergizes too well with the Juggernaut.
They need some sort of lockdown or disable, it seems. Like, I don't know. Maybe something like a...
Well, not going to get any lockdown with that. Venomancer, the final pick for Team Tinker.
Banana.
Yep. Shooting out the poison. So that'll be your Sing hero. Looks like that'll be their staple core. For the off, why do you think they'll set up these lanes? Like off lane Veno, Axe Wisp mid, and then Jug in the safe lane with Tree stacking?
Well, if safe lane Jug, yeah, off lane Veno seems most likely. Although I think they could dual lane off lane. Although I think it's pretty weak versus Vengeful and AA, so they'd be taking a big gamble by doing that. Much safer choices to do. 2-2-1.
So it will be an off-lane Weaver, though. Phonic takes point on that. Dendi will go mid on the puck. No big surprise there. That leaves Hvost to safe lane farm on the Troll
10
Warlord with
seconds
his 2
remaining.
supports there in the jungle. That's a pretty scary tri-lane, I have to admit, for Navi here.
It is. Venge AA is one of the most fearsome combos. I mean, Venge plus
Prepare
most
for battle.
supports and most carries is very scary.
Have you seen Funnick's effigy? Oh, I'm a child. Sorry about that.
I can't zoom in. I can't actually see what's going on
It's
there.
Sven swinging his big sword,
Oh.
and you can read the caption to yourself
I
there.
see.
Oh, Funnick, what a sense of humor that young man has. So Koikva will go safe lane on the Juggernaut. Wow, look at this Juggernaut mask in the full cosmetic tour here. Wow, such style, much wow. Arise takes the axe and
Dude, their courier is sick.
which one? The Dire here?
Yeah.
The Dragon? The 6th player of Navi? Yeah, they've had this baby for a while. He's even watched 160 Navi games. Look at that.
6th player.
Yep,
30
it's pretty
seconds
serious
to battle.
business. Ward's coming down here. Dire will get their first observer inside the tree line in the bottom lane to help out their off lane and get a little vision of that top rune.
So it is a aggro try, as you suspected.
Okay, wow. Patting myself on the back here.
That's a tough one to go up against. I think Troll's actually pretty good on try. His whirling axe is really good at early levels.
It's huge range.
Yeah,
So
it is.
it's not a hero you want to square up
Battle
against,
begins.
and not going to have that Weaver Ancient Apparition synergy, unfortunately, with the Chilling Touch and the Gemnate attack. At least not in the laning stage, but AA still kind of the master of the tri-lanes with that Chilling Touch, and you just have to be very cautious about how you initiate and when you commit to a fight. If you can force him to kind of waste the Chilling Touch, it does have a pretty long cooldown in the early levels, so it does kind of go both ways, but if used properly, man, oh man.
Or not an aggro try.
Okay.
And they will go back to the jungle. They were setting up for it.
So Singh goes mid, and they will have the safe lane farmer in Koikva, and Axe will just go level 1 mid. They're going to completely sack the off lane here, but some early skirmishing down bottom. Weaver. What do you think about Weaver in the off lane? I feel like I haven't seen him too much in the past few patches, and usually it's in that safe lane role.
I've actually played this matchup a few times, Weaver versus Jug. It's actually not bad at all for the Weaver if you have low ping. If you can use time-lapse on Omni Slashes, then you're all good in the hood. Juggernaut doesn't have the best move speed, still pretty high at 305, but Weaver should be able to throw out a lot of harass. Keep in mind they still really don't have that much for the Weaver this game. Veno is, I would say, fairly useless versus a Weaver. Jug, I mean, he can probably kill the Weaver in like a root, but aside from root and blink call, which aren't going to come out for at least 10 minutes, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, a Jug with the gem is pretty scary against a Weaver. If you can break the Lincolns, the Omni Slash is pretty good, but if you don't have that detection, Shikuchi is most certainly your trump card. So Hvost, he'll be in free farm heaven here in the safe lane. In general, sacking the off lane, give us the thoughts here, Merlini. What's the... It's all about trade-offs.
It's
Hvost
really
gonna get free farm.
good for
Radiant's top
what
tower
Tinker's
is
running,
under
which is
attack.
the EO and the Axe. They are incredibly fast at taking out stacks, and Funnick. Oh my
in
goodness.
some trouble here. Ooh, Wisp gonna live. Living armor comes out, and Funnick will scoot away.
They gave him a ninja chilling touch.
So, all right, the leader of Tears will stay standing. He has his bottle and the living armor. He'll be able to regen up, but that armorless Wisp takes a lot of damage early on.
I think the Juggernaut works very well against the traditional off lanes. And I've just seen like Centaurs and other heroes just die over and over again to like a simple slow plus a Juggernaut spin or a stun even, which is a little bit worse for the offlaner hero. So teams are exploring other options, and I think Weaver was a very popular hero, even in the offlane about maybe a year and a half ago, and stands to reason that he should make a comeback when his Sakuchi is so incredibly useful this game.
Well, they will get a sentry down ward in the sentry ward down in the lane rather. I think Funnick saw the tree walk over and kind of plop it down, so he should be somewhat aware. They've rotated Go Black and kind of devolved into a 2-1-2. Given the nature of the sacked offlane, you don't really need two supports up there. Van Score will get free run of the jungle, doing the pull-throughs, getting these big camps. So Ven should find pretty decent farm, almost level 3 already. Ancient Apparition still only 1. But in pretty good shape. How goes the jungling efforts for old Jason here? Looks like he's got some stacks at the hard camp, the leader of Tears. Well, giving him a leader of healing right now and making Axe's life a lot easier. So when you have a Wisp like this, you can actually jungle at level 1 and be pretty efficient with it.
They love this.
The efficient jungling with a Wisp.
The Wisp acts as just a straight jungle.
Dire's middle tower
And
is under attack.
it is a little difficult to punish because Axe is very strong in those early levels. But look how much pressure they're putting in the safe lane. Havost, absolute free farm, and the tower is very, very low with that good old siege creep.
Tower is under attack.
They might. No, I don't think they'll get it off this push. They may just try to tank up the tower and keep the siege creep alive. But regardless, she's going down quick, and yep, will get glyphed up. Some extra gold going the way of Navi. Early on in this game, that's going to be a 4-minute tower kill. Havost, oh, be careful there, buddy. He's going to die to the tower. Oh, my God. Oh, Merlini, I'm glad I was watching that tower kill. Havost, man.
That's what we all know Havost for.
Jesus. Wah, wah, wah.
Tower not secured.
Oh, my God. And it gets killed by the Dire. He didn't even get the last hit.
He did bite a Morbid Mask, though.
It's not all bad, but that's okay. Well, Dendi in the mid. How's this lane going? I haven't really checked in on it too much. 25 and 12 on the Fairy Dragon, 16 and 6 on the Venomancer. So, Bananas not getting the best of Dendi. But
Well,
still
that
kind of a
might be a little bit misleading because of the wards.
Oh, yeah. You're right, actually. I always
But
forget that you get the credit for a last
Venno
hit
is
for
actually
wards.
denying all his wards.
Yeah, you're right. And it messes with the numbers a bit. Still looking pretty good for Dendi, though. He's level 6 already. Has his boots, 600 gold to spare. Should have a decently timed flank if things continue on. Funnick on the off lane. Looks like may just be rushing to Lincoln's. Has himself a Ring of Health for some regen, making his lane presence a little easier. And he's actually doing okay. I mean, he's got 18 last hits, almost level 6. So for a solo off lane, I think this is a victory here for Funnick.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the most important parts about playing against a Juggernaut that teams just aren't really used to yet, just because it's been very new, is the Mask of Madness solo Roshan. And I think even with a Wisp, they can probably do it without a Mask of Madness. Just tank up a little bit on him, drop the healing ward, and use a double heal. And securing it yourself is definitely the safest way, I'd say, instead of having someone constantly check it, because Jug can take it, I think, probably in 45 seconds-ish for a solo Jug, and that's a pretty small window to work with.
Yeah, it's a small window, and he can do it really early on when you're still kind of farming and you're not at that point where you're just moving around the map ready to hop into the pit. And basically, when he gets to the Mask of Madness, so what's the earliest that he can solo Roche? You can do it around like the 10-minute mark or so without too much trouble.
You can do it with Mask of Madness and Treads. That's generally when I see the Juggernauts do it.
He went phase boots this game, but
it can be done earlier with Tinker's lineup. Since they have a tree, they have a Wisp.
yeah,
It makes it much easier.
right. The tree is a particularly useful hero in that scenario.
So he will go with the 1/1/1.
Yep, and he's got 2 points in the stats here, so has enough mana to do a spin and an Omni Slash if he's pretty much topped off here. And that is the value. Picks up the Mask of Madness recipe, and we'll have it completed within the next probably 2 minutes or so. Sing Sing, how's he looking? Just sitting on a Ring of Aquila, double damage rune, nothing too crazy coming out from him, just keeping that lane steady. It's been a pretty quiet game so far, 7 minutes and only a suicide from Havost on the scoreboard. Both teams just pretty satisfied sitting back getting their initial farm, and I would guess this is favoring Tinker, but no, it's actually not. I would have thought with Axe having all these stacks in the jungle that maybe Tinker could find an edge, but it's already Navi with about a 2,000 gold lead.
Well, a lot of it's from that tower. And their jungle is actually a little bit slower than it is normally. I think last time I saw them run this strategy, it was level 6 in Enigma time, which is about 5 minutes. So now he's level 7 in about 7.5. Slightly worse than what it was before, but he is very close to his Blink Dagger, just 600 gold away.
Yeah, it's been going well for him there. No points in Battle Hunger, maxing out the counter Helix. And just running around with those Tranquils. How's the top lane going? Looks like Go Black has taken over farming in the safe lane. He will go Hand-to-Midas on the Ancient Apparition. Pretty standard these days. And we'll be looking towards that Aghanim Scepter, no doubt.
Neither team has a significantly overwhelming advantage in the late game.
Yeah.
I mean, Weaver is decent, Troll is decent, and Jug is also probably slightly better than both of those, but they don't really have a secondary carry. So I don't really think either of these teams feels very comfortable in the late game, if it's just a pure farm fest.
Yeah, I feel like Tinker might have bit of an advantage going into that late game, like 45 minutes plus, once that Juggernaut is huge and getting out of control. If things keep up around this similar pace, I don't know, just the Jug games we saw yesterday, it seemed like once he got 6-slotted, he's just so hard to deal with. Every fight, he's got this huge ultimate that makes him invulnerable and does huge damage, and then he pops out and just starts, you know, like one shot and supports at some stages of the game.
I mean, these supports are fairly difficult to kill, too. Venge is going to be looking for defensive swaps. Puck has phase shift for a non-abyssal Juggernaut, and then AA is usually not going to be in the fight. So, I mean, yes, Jug is very, very strong in the late game, too, but if they have, like, a Blink Hex, this is way on down the road, or even just a Blink Waning Rift on the Jug without a Manta up, I think they can kill him fairly easily. But this does rely on the Weaver getting very, very large. And it looks like he's going into a later Lincoln's. Lincoln's doesn't really block much here.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, offlane Weaver, you can't expect him to get too big, but Funnick's finding a lot of space. 45 CS here at the 9.5 minute mark, right middle of the pack on net worth, basically keeping up with the Axe. So I think that's a victory there. He does have Gloves of Haste and might just be pulling up for a Midas to really accelerate that farm with the casual Ring of Health. I think that might be where he's headed instead of the Lincolns, but perhaps he's about to prove us wrong here.
Well, he needed something for sustain. You'll see offlane bottle a fair amount. But
oh, look at that! He buys a set of ward sentries and makes sure this is clear.
That's from Vanscore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Vanscore sentries rather, but yeah. And making sure his lane is safe. We'll find a lane ward here. Nice victory for Funnick again. Although there is a rotation, Jason and Bulba not going to find the opening.
They really want to keep this tower alive. That's the point of this sentry ward over here. Make sure that they don't do a wraparound gank onto Funnick with like a Blink Axe and then get the tower. Although they could still smoke, the way that Funnick's position right now, he must feel very, very safe. And again, it's all about controlling the Roshan, denying it from the Juggernaut, especially when they have pretty good heroes to take it down. I mean, Venomancer is also pretty good at taking it. But it all starts with that T1 tower falling in Navi's offlane.
Well,
AA ult comes out.
We'll connect on 2, but no follow-up going to be there. Just harassing Quakeville a little bit. Old Juggy does have the Mask of Madness, so Roche now kind of officially a possibility, but with the Ice Blast online, that does give Navi yet another tool to scout out the pit if he goes missing for a while.
We might be seeing a lot of Midas in this game. Venomancer is sitting at 2050 gold.
Yep, there you go. Right-clicks the Midas straight away. Was wondering what Sing Sing was pulling up for, and it will be about a 12-minute Midas once it gets delivered.
So looking at the wards on the Radiant side, you'll see Team Tinker with 2 in mid. So this means they're geared up for a very sort of mid-game, meaning they're just trying to protect the Venomancer in mid, get vision for him. He has a wall of wards in front, he has the Observer ward to the top left, and he has the other Observer ward to the right that are going to try and protect their jungle by having multiple heroes down there. You don't really want to gank a Jug in your jungle because it's just very risky without any creeps around. And we see a AA ult into
Dendi showing off the Blink Dagger. Yep, Dream Coil drops the full rotation, a level 11 puck. Oh my gosh, so much damage. So there you go. Official first blood. Dendi gets it at the 12-minute mark. What a late first blood that was. Funnick did indeed go back to the Midas, so it looks like both teams gearing up for the long game here. That's 2 Midases on the side of Navi, and 1 for Team Tinker, at least so far. Bulba in kind of a weird position here. We'll move into tower range. Funnick gets in as many licks as he can, but he will TP out, and now I miss another kill mid. Wow, I'm 0 for 2 today. And they get a counter kill onto Puck. Looks like the haste rune from Jason helps make it happen, but now Ice Blast coming in. We'll connect onto Koikva, and they are going to try to make a defense at this tower. In comes the Troll, but Jason with the Blink Dagger makes it back before the Axe connects, and they will secure a deny on this Tier 1 tower mid, but some of that Roshan control you were talking about now starting to evaporate from Navi.
Tinker's trying to slowly expand their territory, though. Take down that mid T1. You saw Boba almost trying to place that ward up there, but with Funnick's own Observer ward, he saw him coming and pushed him away from that area. So now Tinker has to rely on a less aggressive ward, less than ideal one if you're on the Radiant, because you won't have any vision of the Ancients, which Pavos has been utilizing, as we can see right now.
Yep, Wisp is level 6. Haven't seen any relocates yet, but now a possibility. A nice double stack here in the Agents, it looks like. Axel get to take out, so his farm still actually kind of middle of the pack, keeping up blow for blow with the Weaver, but getting it done. And we'll now move into a Blade Mail, about 600 gold off.
You also have to change your builds significantly when playing against a Juggernaut to deal with the Omni Slash. For example, Manta Styles to split the damage a little bit up, and of course for the supports, Ghost Scepters. And Vanscore will actually rush a Ghost Scepter, boots Ghost Scepter.
That's interesting.
Well, this way he can defensively swap and not die, which is incredibly important when you're playing Vengeful Spirit. I mean, you are still useful if you die, but I mean, of course, wouldn't you rather be alive, give Vengeance Aura, constantly stun people?
Well,
and of
here we
course drop
go
the wave.
with Navi taking heed to some of your advice. They will move into the Roche pit. And meanwhile, Vanscore's up top, kind of distracting him here, keeping Jason and Bulba occupied and trying to keep the Radiance team attention away from the Roche pit.
They have to know that something's
Navi
up. When they go that far behind the T1 and no one TPs, they should know that they're roaching, but they can't stop it right now. If Wisp TPs, then that is just suicide.
Yep. So they will instead settle for a tier 1 tower. Aegis goes the way of Havos. No big surprise on that one. And Navi will not only deny the Aegis from old Koikva, but get it for themselves. Tier 1 tower up top does die. Koikva slapped by another Ice Blast, but Navi will just rotate bottom. They're happy to keep trading towers and take objectives around the map, and they'll see what damage they can get in on this tier 1. Looks like Team Tinker will not come for much of a defense. They do have a round of TPs, but nope, not going to come save this tower quite yet.
So, so many of these heroes are still proceeding with farming builds. Troll Warlord with the Yasha, of course the Midases that we see. We see Juggernaut also going back for a Battle Fury as opposed
like
to a Manta Style, which is a more battle build. So both these teams comfortable in playing passively, farming it up, and slowly taking objectives as opposed to a very balls to the wall aggressive sort of play.
Except Dendy, though. He's gone first item Dagon after the blink. So he's not, I mean, we've seen Midas come out on puck a time or two. Certainly an option if you want to go for the late game, but he says, all right, you guys go for the long game. I'll create some space in the interim here, and let's burst some people down.
I actually like the Dagon choice here. I think it provides a very useful utility in terms of being able to kill the Wisp, because they're going to use most of the defensive spells on Axe, and Wisp just purely has to rely on positioning and generally his HP pool to survive. And if Venom wards aren't proper enough to scout, then he can just get blown up. Blink, I think he can blow him up right now without the use of AA Blast, but with an AA Blast, that's a very easy kill. Probably doesn't even have to use Waning Rift.
Yeah, I like what Navi are trying to do around the map. They're kind of utilizing their global presence by moving Funnick around. If they connect with the Ice Blast, they throw out the Battle Trance, and it's actually pretty easy for Funnick to find these stray kills as long as the Ice Blast connects. So that's kind of the caveat there. Hasn't been successful, though. I like the effort.
Gem pickup by Tinker. Havos is sieging mid, but he's all by his lonesome. This is kind of the fake push, I suppose. They don't really want to go on him because they think their team's behind him and he'll get defensively swapped, but they're actually not.
You can see how passive Tinker are playing. Jason was there kind of considering the options and goes, this doesn't feel right, guys. This feels too weird. Most will just stand his ground, keeps throwing those axes into the tower. Now his team will join him. Dendy hanging around the backside, ready to counter-initiate if they jump on his beloved troll. Remember, Havos also has the Aegis.
Healing ward micro. So Troll proceeds into a Manta first, too. So, I mean, this is a much better than SNY versus a Troll, so...
Ooh, Jason caught by Dendy. Coil, Dagon gets off the Blade Mail, but doesn't matter. They bring him down. Weaver secures the kill, and the rest of Tinker nowhere to be found.
They just lost the gem.
Radiant's middle tower has
fallen. That was easy. Yep, Funnick now the proud owner of a gem.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Oh boy, up top though, they're going to move into this tier 2 tower. Some TP's on the way back. Dendy will be the first to join the party. He does not have a coil. Ice Blast will be off the mark as they're already in full retreat. And Navi will keep their top tier 2 safe.
And at this point, I mean, Tinker's strength of their lineup, I think, has already passed most of their power curve, because Axe, he's had his blink, but they only got a kill on Dendy once in mid, and then...
That's it. He's 1-1-0. I mean, that's pretty inactive for 18 minutes based on how much farm he has.
Yes, and a lot of that has to do with Navi's playstyle in this particular game. But at the same time, I mean, you don't draft an Axe to fight 25, 30 minutes into the game. You draft him to shut down melee heroes and to put out a lot of aggression as soon as he gets his Blink Dagger, and he's just been unable to do so. Weaver is a very difficult target. Puck,
Yeah.
I mean,
Navi have a pretty surprising lead, dude. It's about 10,000 golden experience right now. It's only 2-2, but the Midas count is in their favor, and they're just working the map a lot more efficiently. That's just kind of been the way of it. Tower count is in their favor, but only by 1. So not
well, even starting at the beginning of the game, they were farming 4 areas, whereas Tinker was only farming 3. They're only farming jungle, mid lane, and bottom lane, and Navi has jungle and all 3 lanes.
Yep.
And of course, the Roshan advantage. The Roshan advantage is undeniably going to be huge in this particular game, and they have a lineup that they want to use Omni Slash, they want to use Coiling Blade a lot, but they actually don't want to go on that Axe at all. Or, sorry, the Troll at all. He has 1300 HP, a Manta to absorb a lot of the Juggernaut hits. Manta not the best versus Axe, since if you have your images, they'll spin a little bit more, but I still think it's a very good item choice overall in this game. And it also splits you out of root, which is a pretty big deal because you don't necessarily want to have to use your BKB charge on that.
No, definitely not. So, all right, Sing Sing probably moving into an Aghanim Scepter here off that Midas. He's been pretty quiet, just farming away this game. 0-1-0, working on the neutrals. The Dire did get a ward down in kind of a unique spot here right outside this camp, so they have pretty good intel on what Sing Sing is up to, and it gives them confidence when to commit to something that might be a 5v4, or if they're actually going to fight a 5v5. Sing does not have a TP right now. So
that's an incredibly good ward, though.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. Yep, smart put down. Right after they picked up the gem, too. Okay, great time to put wards down. Dendi will continue leveling up the Dagon. That now takes it to level 2. And with that, Navi will smoke up, move through the mid lane. It looks like they ping out bottom. They want the Axe. TP to the tower.
It's a smart move by Funnick too. You'll see some players, they just right-click creeps, and then a hero will instantly appear on the minimap, and then you know people are smoked. But he Shikujis into range first so that the smoke pops while he's invis, and then they don't know that the other members are smoked. It's a small thing, and it won't actually lead to any kills, but it's still a nice play. Dendi actually might get a kill because... Oh, are they going to go for a kill on
Let's take a look at Dire Vision here. This is what Dendi sees. He's still smoked up. Koikva and the leader of Tears moving into the neutrals. Dendi hops in, finds the leader of Tears, drops the coil, the hammer, and gets the kill. Now Koikva stuck in the tether, will get hit by an Ice Blast. No kill coming out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, maybe making a move onto Funnick. Nope, not going to happen. So, nice little pick for the Fairy Dragon there and putting that Dagon to good use.
Gold for my armor.
Tinker probably thinks that they have a ward on the high ground. That's what you would expect versus with a play like that, because he clearly did it with vision. Blinking in like that blindly would just be insane.
Oh, Funnick taunted down bottom, but not enough spins coming out of Jason. Won't get him into dunk range. Decides to TP home. Funnick playing with fire a little bit there, but time lapses back the health, and he will indeed commit for the Lincolns now. About 1,000 off the recipe.
And Tinker still just has not been able to have any good vision out. They didn't have any good vision out prior to the gem, and now with the gem, it's still very lackluster. Koikva is farming very hesitantly around the opponent's jungle, knowing that he can die to a puck combo very easily. He does have his Battle Fury, though, but in terms of other members with farm on Tinker, it's just not that much. Veno, as
Mid
you
lane.
said before.
Dendi hops in onto Axe, but whoa, almost gets turned around on. The Blade Mail gets activated. Dendi is able to jaunt out, and they find a clean kill on the Axe, but whew,
Easy kill steal.
close call on that one. All right, another pickup for Navi. That makes it 4-2. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Team Tinker all grouped up, ready to do some more damage to this Tier 2 tower, but they won't get it for free. Navi doing work all over the map. Havos was split pushing, takes out the Tier 2 bottom, so it's a tower-for-tower trade. Ice Blast flies through, off the mark, and Funnick gets a couple of licks into this Tier 2 here in the mid lane. But glancing at the graphs, pretty obvious who's getting the better out of this map and these pickoffs. It is Navi, now about 12,000 golden experience in the lead, just kind of slowly bleeding out Team Tinker as they get further and further ahead.
Tower is under attack.
They're doing an excellent job of applying pressure at multiple points of the map. Puck controlling the opponent's jungle. We saw Weaver just right-click the tower a lot.
We'll
Mid.
relocate up top, on to go Black. That'll be an Omni Slash to secure the kill, but Puck's there. Coil on 2, gets the kill on Wisp. Koikva will Blade Fury away, and it'll end as a 1-for-1 support for support trade. Not a bad little trade for Tinker, but Navi strike back with a response.
they can't ever get anything for free too. They got the tower on top, but they lost their T2 on bottom and half a T2 in mid.
Yep.
Jason smoked up,
Dire's
looking for a kill. His
structures
item
are
progression has been very poor after the blade mail pickup too.
Yep. Lost some space to farm and still just finding no kills. Axe kind of a snowball-y hero, and when he doesn't get that momentum, his quote-unquote recovery farm is a little lackluster. Troll now going into an Eye of Scotty, and the Weaver completes his Lincoln, so those tanky items starting to come out onto the field for Navi, and even Dendy's Punk getting scarier now up to Dagon level 3 and pulling up that gold.
Scotty's also a very nice pickup here. It provides him a lot of HP, obviously. That's one of the best HP items on a carry that you're going to get, but it's also very good at actually killing a Juggernaut, because usually he'll just spin away. And with spin being somewhat countered by Scotty as well as the bash, he can't really use that as a reliable defensive tool anymore. Not that he has been, just because they haven't been fighting, but the option is there for Navi to straight destroy a Juggernaut if he decides to blade spin, even with overcharge.
Well, Sing Sing, he's now gone for the Aghanim Scepter, has it completed, so the Poison Nova, a bit more potent, perhaps a bit more venomous here.
It's also nice versus the Poison Nova too. You want a very large HP pool, or lifesteal, or both, which is what Havos has gone for. It also makes it incredibly easy for him to solo Roshan if they so desire, but I mean, they could do it with 1, they could do it with 4. It doesn't really matter. I don't think Tinker can contest it either way.
Yeah, Roche on his way back up pretty soon here, about 20 seconds. And, well, speaking of Roche control, Go Black now gets his Aghanim Scepter. 24 minutes, the completion time. Now, pretty standard there. Had a well-timed Midas, and now Frosty can start lobbing those snowballs around the map, and boy, do they hurt. Also level 11, so even an upgraded Ice Blast. Bottom lane, Funnick just farming away. There's a trap set here. The leader of Tears and Koikva hiding in the tree line, perhaps thinking about making a go, but they are light on detection, so I don't know exactly what the strategy is here as Navi start to invade the jungle and dominate this quadrant of the map, maybe angling for a Roche, and yep, they're going to walk right into it. Not even going to smoke either. Manscore has one, but they'll opt just to walk into the pit. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they will find the two that set the trap in the jungle. Juggle just BKB TP with the Blade Fury, and, well, Wisp gets left behind.
Roshan has fallen
And another
to
Roche
the
kill. The Dark Troll. Whoops. Troll Warlord. Second life, and everything coming up Navi here, Merlini. They're just having their way of it. Walking around the map, now invading the enemy's jungle, getting Aegis's, towers, everything they want just coming their way. It's like a second Christmas.
Boba looking to maybe get some vision up. They had a Observer Ward on the high ground, but that has since disappeared. And yeah, everything's going well for Navi. You see the Scepter out on AA.
Tinker actually have no wards down at all right now. They're completely blind. They'll lose a tier 2 mid. Sing Sing's pushing the top, but Navi are looking like they'll have a go at high ground perhaps. Tinker need to get back to defend. Everyone has a TP scroll, so they will be able to make it back. And
I mean, 2 lanes are being pushed right now. 2 T3s, and we see none of Tinker's heroes willing to defend.
Yeah.
They're all just very scared of Dagon.
Navi do back out, and they play this one a little more cautiously, but if they wanted to get aggressive and just jump on the leader at Tears and Sing Sing, that could have been a quick double.
Well, they didn't know that the heroes on Tinker were, like, 2 of them were on top lane. But yes, they are very scared. Vengeful Spirit going for a pipe. Excellent item versus the Veno.
I love it here. Especially the upgraded Aghanim Scepter. It's one that's very easy to mitigate, too. Because
Boba maybe looking to set up a kill on Vanscore with a relocate.
Thinking about it. No, Vanscore is going to be safe.
Way 2 is also nowhere close to anyone. But, I mean, maybe this is what they were going for more in the early game. Put some pressure on the lane with Veno, and then an Invis Tree or a Blink Call Axe can lock someone down long enough for a relocate to kill someone. But, I mean, when you see a Troll with 2300 HP, a Manta Style to split out of the root, as well as Aegis of the Immortal, that is just, okay, we definitely cannot kill this guy.
Yeah, and looking at net worth, he's farming well. He's like 35% up on the Juggernaut, who's also farming quite well. Dendy in the mid lane hops in onto Jason. Blade Mail comes out, and Dendy will hold the Dagon. Does not want a taste of his own medicine off that one. Right now, Bulba just playing the mobile ward game. He's basically just walking around, stalking Havos, just making sure they know what the Troll is up to.
And I think Havos definitely thrives when he's not really scared of anything. And he's in this situation right now.
Well, he should be scared now. Relocate. All of a sudden, it's a 4-on-1. He's got some lifesteal. He'll sort of stand his ground. Koikva gets the living armor. Ice Blast comes flying through. Can he live to find some kills? He gets the kill on the Juggernaut. He's still alive, making a double. He breaks down the Treant. The Wisp goes back. It's a triple kill. Well, technically a double for Havos, but the Troll is still alive with the Aegis of the Immortal. Oh my Lanta, we're going to miss a kill on Wisp from Funnick in the mid lane, but that's not nearly as interesting as Dendi typing 4.
Well, they didn't want to use Omni Slash there. I'm not exactly sure why on Koikva. Maybe he was waiting for the creeps to dissipate as well as the Manta illusions, but they certainly needed it to break down one of his lives. And with just, I don't know, 4 weak heroes right-clicking him, especially with Whirling Axes on them and Troll bashing the Juggernaut.
Yep.
And with his super ultra tanky build.
And now they move into this this tier 3 tower. It evaporates under the pressure of the battle trance. Havos will go ahead and throw away the Aegis. Glyph comes out for Tinker. They're all respawning. Will be up to mount to defense pretty soon here. TP in from Axe, ready to find some recovery kills. Bulba wants to get in position for an overgrowth, but just can't find it. Short range Ice Blast flies through off the mark, but Navi still happy with their spoils to just take down a tier 3 tower, and they don't need to break high ground right now. They've got a staggering gold lead. Now their Weaver has a Desolator, and they are just feeling good all around the map.
Troll still has a fair amount of room to grow. Can get what, like a butterfly crit and one more item. I mean, technically he only has like 2 real items, Mantis Style and Eye, and he was able to demolish everyone on Tinker's team, minus Sing.
Yep, and now he's got a Hyperstone. Looks like Assault Cross will probably be his item of choice coming out here. There's the completed pipe on the Venge. It just keeps getting worse for Tinker. More salt getting jammed into that wound as Axe relegated to a Vanguard here at the 29-minute mark. Oof. The inverse efficiency. Bulba walks right into a gem. Dagon blasts him in the face. The tree gets cut down and turned into lumber as the mysterious fairy dragon gets another.
Well, Tinker is struggling to make any sort of... Oh, Koikva.
Yeah, Havos charging on in here. Battle Trance has been used. Koikva will pop the Manta to try and make it out, and Havos will let him live.
2,500 HP with a pipe and lifesteal.
Oh, Funnick needs to be a little careful here. Initiates onto Jason, gets taunted. Blade Mail flies out, but now it's Axe that's on the back foot. Dendi joins the party in hot pursuit. Dagon to the face. Secures yet another. Funnick gets the last hit, and now he wants to get aggressive. He sees Sing Sing scouted out by the Scarab and starts laying in the auto attacks. Needs to be careful, though. Time lapses back to the tower. Just trying to zone out Tinker for Navi to lay in to the tier 3. No Glyph this time, so Tinker probably losing a lane of barracks. The Desolator making this push very easy. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Jug is trying to do a bit of split pushing. Ice Blast flies through. The swap from Vanscore keeps the Treant out of the Ice Blast, but will cost him his life as he gets zapped down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, let's see the progress here. Leader of Tiers and Koikva, they'll get at least the tier 3 tower. The Glyph comes out. That'll help mitigate damage onto the barracks. Now the reaction back. Dendi, the first one to hop in. Funnick nearby. The leader of Tiers taking a lot of damage. Down he goes. Koikva gets left behind. Does a lot of damage to Funnick, but does not have any detection, and they should be able to just kite this slippery snake all around. He'll try and TP out. Will it happen? A close call, but he makes it out. Meanwhile, top lane now, Havos squaring off with Jason, gets dunked to find the kill. Vanscore moving in, wants the barracks, not going to get the range. They did manage to take out the melee, and Navi kind of get cleaned up. Tinker secure their base, but it comes at a heavy cost, basically trading a tier 3 for a lane and a half of barracks.
I don't believe Omni Slash has been used once this game.
I don't, no, I think he used it once to kill Ancient Apparition. I think that's it. I think he got one. It was right here. Remember that little jump right here when he caught the 2 supports? One Omni Slash. But yeah, it's been a lackluster Jug performance, I think. He has all these farming tools, but...
It's not... I don't really think it's on the Jug. I think it's more on their playstyle as a whole. They have a lineup... Like, when you play that greedily, you have to have an overwhelming late game, or you have to have, like, to make the other team like feel pressured so that they like feel pressure to contest their farm, or you have to have like a really strong mid game at actually killing people, and they don't really have either of them. And Navi just like, okay, you're gonna farm, but we're gonna farm twice as fast,
right?
So that there goes a late game idea. Even though I think their lineup is like similar in terms of late game, Navi was just much better at farming controlling than that Qualifier.
Oh, they finally gets an Omni Slash off. A lot of creeps around, bouncing around onto Vanscore, but he has a Ghost Scepter. Oh, it's a total disaster. Koikva gets turned around on. Sing Sing comes in, kamikaze style, gets off the Poison Nova, but kind of just tickling at this point. Might be able to find a kill on the Ancient Apparition. Is there any lethal damage? Yeah, he's got the Poison Sting on him, and good night, Sweet Prince. Go Black. Yep, can't quite make it back to the well. Still not really the hold they were hoping for. Vanscore, is he going to die? Nope, Poison Sting not going to be enough for that one. Oh, that fight started with just an unfortunate series of events. They dropped the Overgrowth and the whole Axe arsenal to try to bring down the Weaver, and they couldn't even get him into dunk range.
They did manage to secure the gem, though. Axe picked off Dendy in the backline and managed to secure a gem.
Okay.
So not all is lost for Team Tinker. Looks like it will be a very long Roshan respawn, 2:30 after the tick. And Navi, I think, just one Roshan away from ending Team Tinker's misery.
Yeah, I mean, Sing Sing has mega farm. He can put out a lot of damage, but the follow-up just isn't quite there. And
well, it's only for big large-scale engagements, too. If it's just a single engagement,
his damage is not there. That's true, yeah. He has the Veil of Discord completed. So in those big 5v5 fights, and that one, it kind of just came a little too late, and I guess that piggybacks off what you were saying is that fight was getting started where Tinker just seemed to be lacking a general game plan, where the individual pieces are kind of strong, but when it comes to that five-man cohesion, it just isn't quite there.
I mean, I view their lineup as a very face-rushy lineup, like Juggernaut with magic immunity, Axe with a tree and a wisp backing him up. These are heroes that you are scared of and that you don't really want to contest early on into the game, except Team Tinker, they weren't able to put that sort of pressure on the map. And I think a lot of that has to do with Navi's draft. The Weaver on bottom lane couldn't get zoned out by a tree. Also could actually contest the Jugs farm and got a lot of farm on his own. The Venomancer, not great at engaging fights, especially versus a Puck with a Blink Dagger and a Troll who has immense amounts of farm. Actually, he was farming jungle for the most part in the early game, but they don't exactly know where he is, and they don't have good heroes to kind of scout that area out.
Yeah.
And the Vengeful Spirit, too, with the early Ghost Scepter. Can't really... I mean, an Axe and a Jug.
Yeah. I feel like Navi also just itemized really well this game. They've got a huge spread. Havost and Funnick both tanking up first and now going for damage items. They've got a Vlad's Pipe and Assault Kuros, some great aura items. Now Funnick even moving into a Desolator for minus armor to siege better, a crit, and then a Halberd to help beef him up even more, and now give him that utility for a disarm. And given the lack of BKBs on Team Tinker, I think that disarm will be pretty potent.
Yeah, the Tinky builds are working wonders this game, and not only is it versus Juggernaut just to tank up their so you can pop your defensive cooldowns, whether it's Manta Style on Troll or the time lapse on the Weaver, it's also just very good against the Axe, so you don't get cooling blade range. And you know, a lot of teams just like to build the BKB every single game on whatever the carry is, and that's just not the right approach to Dota in general. And I think that Navi, with their item choices and with the way they've drafted, are quickly evolving to counter the very jug-heavy strats that we've seen these past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously aura items are amazing when you're in these big 5v5 skirmishes, when you're getting full benefit from all those extra stats. But Havos now with a Helm of the Dominator and the Vlad's on Venge, man, he is just racking up the lifesteal, especially... Oh, this is just hard to deal with. Havos feeling brave. He has the Aegis of the Immortal, not a care in the world. He'll just stand on the low ground and lay into the tower. Living Armor comes out to try and help pick it back up. There is a glyph available for Team Tinker, and they're kind of spread around the map right now. Quakeva's in the bottom lane trying to split push. The Wisp will head back to the fountain, but this is kind of the make it or break it for Tinker. One full lane of barracks standing. They've already used the glyph. Living Armor will help, but will it actually be enough to quell this push? Meanwhile, on the top, Funnick just finishes off the ranged barracks. Now this is the last lane standing between Team Tinker and Mega Creeps. The last tier 3 towers fall, and just look how fast the structures evaporate. They've got to go, and they've got to go now. You're late for an important date, boys. Sing Sing goes in, Kamikaze to get things started. Poison over to soften him up, but there's the pipe, and oh boy, it's Tinker just falling apart. Navi coming out ahead on every front. Buybacks coming up plenty for Tinker. One used on the Venomancer. He's trying to do what he can. They'll force the Aegis out on the Troll, but GG is called from Qualifier as it becomes apparent that Team Tinker can't handle the heat, and they are forced to get out of the kitchen.
Navi, victory.
Stunningly dominant performance by Navi here, and I mean, the draft didn't really seem to click for Team Tinker. I can see somewhat of what they were going for with the face rush, but it just seems like a little of it was out of place. Like, Venomancer doesn't really contribute much to the face rush lineup, and also Treant Protector too. He's generally good at keeping heroes alive, but with Juggernaut, you don't necessarily need that extra line of defense. Most teams seem to just draft very offensive lineups with Juggernaut as opposed to defensive supports. And they unfortunately couldn't get things happening, but that is only the first game in the series.
Yep, it is a best of 3. Elimination on the line here, though. So Team Tinker 1 loss away from walking away from the DAC. Unfortunate for them. I think the 5th picks were what really sealed the deal for this game. The Venomancer, not a particularly great last pick for Tinker, and the Weaver, really smart for Navi. He ended 8-0 and 3, and they just had no way to control him. As you pointed out, Veno basically useless against Weaver, no way to control him outside of the Axe, and just so much space in that off lane. Huge plays from Funnick. But with that, we'll have a break, guys. Then Game 2 of Navi versus Tinker coming up for today's DAC coverage. I'm Zyori. That's Merlini. Stick with us because we're coming right back.